Because UK politics is about to get a bit crazy, I'm going to break down what some people are going to be saying. So what we've got is Rachel Reeves, the head of the economy, announcing the budget. And in that, she's going to be raising taxes, and she's also going to be cutting welfare. And so the big question is going to be, why don't we have enough money to not have to raise taxes, and why can't we afford to pay for things like welfare? And what Rachel Reeves is going to do is she's going to blame Brexit. Now, there's a couple issues with that. One, she has no right to blame Brexit. Two, the people that say, no, it's not Brexit, that's not the reason why we're suffering so much, they're also lying to you too. For example, because Labour's been in power for over a year now, they don't get to blame Brexit because they're the ones who are currently in charge of our policy when it comes to the EU, and they're the ones who've ruled out rejoining the EU single market, which is the system of rules that means that anything made in the EU or anything made in the UK is automatically legal to sell on either side of the border. Whereas right now, because we're not part of the EU, there's lots of paperwork involved in things being sold between the two. And so yes, people are expecting that the OBR, the government's main economists, are going to say that Brexit's been even more damaging to the UK economy than previously calculated, with the American National Bureau of Economic Research saying that rather than Brexit costing the average household just £1,000 a year, it looks like it's costing us £3,700 a year. But that only makes Labour look worse, because the more damage Brexit has done to the UK, the more damage Labour is responsible for because they refused to undo the damage of Brexit. Because they don't get to say, sorry, we can't afford to support people who are in poverty, we can't afford welfare, or sorry, there's no money so we're going to have to raise your taxes, when Brexit is costing the UK government £40 billion a year in lost tax revenue. That means that while they're saying, there's no money, there's £40 billion a year sitting on the table that they're refusing to pick up. The other thing is you're going to have Brexiteers saying that, yes, the OBR might be saying that Brexit's caused 4% damage to the economy, 5%, 8%, whatever they come up with. But that's a prediction. You can't predict that Brexit's going to harm us. But the only benefit to actually doing Brexit is that now we don't actually have to rely on forecasts and predictions anymore, because we can say, no, Brexit has already damaged the UK economy. Like, Make UK is the trade association that represents UK manufacturing, and they have said that Brexit has undermined the UK's place in European supply chains. That's not a prediction, that has already happened. The British Chamber of Commerce, they say that 60% of UK exporters say that Brexit has made their lives harder. SMMT, that represents the UK car industry, they say that Brexit has damaged the UK car industry. UK Food and Drink Associations, you know, the people that make sure that we don't starve, they say that Brexit has made UK food more expensive, which is obviously core to the economy. So when Labour says, sorry, we can't help poor people because Brexit's damaged the economy so much, when they're the ones who are still supporting Brexit. And when the right says, no, but Brexit hasn't damaged the economy, even though every sector of the UK economy has been screaming for years that it has, maybe it's time to start supporting a party that will actually tax the rich and fix the economy.